Yo, what's up? I'm with Pack, Elf of the Pack right here. Today I'm going to be doing something a bit differently on my channel. Something in which I never really do, and that's talk about anime. Specifically, fairy tale and my love for fairy tale, okay? Now, I first started watching fairy tale like 2 years ago. I discovered it on Netflix, and as soon as I started watching it, I blew through the whole first season immediately. I instantly loved the series. And you know, Netflix only has like the first 48 episodes, so I had to go to other websites to check out fairy tale. And Netflix only had like the first 40 episodes for like years now, and it never updates it. I have no idea why. But I started watching fairy tale like 2 years ago, and I instantly fell in love with the show. Right, I think I was on like episode 13 or something like that when I first decided that I wanted to get the emblem on my shoulder. And it's crazy to me because I've only been watching, at that point I've only been watching fairy tale for a few days, and I already decided that I love the show so much that I wanted to express my love for the show by getting the emblem on my arm, right? And 2 months after that, I got the fairy tale emblem on my right shoulder, like Natsu. And you know, Natsu's my favorite character. And I got the emblem. It's not in red, it's in dark green. I did a video about it. I'm gonna show it to you guys again in a second. But after just 2 months of watching the show, I got the emblem on my shoulder. And I have never loved an anime so much in which I feel like I had to express my love for the show in such a degree to where I would get the logo on my body, right? And fairy tale really impacted my life. It shook a chord with me because it was different from all the other anime that I've ever seen. And every other anime that I've seen is all about action and fighting and all this. And fairy tale has action, fighting, but it was different in a way. And what I mean by that is fairy tale is centered around friendship, around family, and you've been able to do anything as long as you got your friends with me. And you know, fairy tale is a magic based anime, and fairy tale is the very first magic based anime in which I've ever seen, and I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world, you know. And from the very first episode, I was hooked. And what was the selling point for me was when Natsu displayed his Dragon Slayer magic. At first, upon watching, I thought it was a pretty average anime, but then Natsu jumped on the scene and he took out Boar and all of his goons with his Dragon Slayer magic, stopping them from selling the girls or whatever, you know, something like that. And you know, that's what really got me into fairy tale. And you know, Natsu's my boy, and he's my favorite character, and I feel like Natsu is the most relatable, at least to me personally. I feel like I'm a lot like Natsu. And the dude is just goofy, hilarious. He's a hothead, you know. I feel like we have the same traits. But usually when I watch anime, right? I only really care about the main character. I only really love the main character, and I don't really care about all of the side characters and background characters. But fairy tale is different in such a way in which I care about all of the characters. I care about the side characters, the background characters. I care about every single member in fairy tale, and not just fairy tale in general. The characters in the other guilds and all of that. I care about all of the characters. It is not just the main character. And fairy tale was really the first anime in which it made me like and love everybody, you know. If I hated the character at one point, I learned to love them down the road because everyone in the anime has their own background. They have their own little sad story. And that really made me connect to everyone in the show, not just everyone in fairy tale, but to everyone throughout the whole series. And I think that's what makes fairy tale so great, is because it uses every character, not just a handful of characters. It uses Natsu and Lucy and Urza more than everyone else. You know, they're like the main crew, but they make everyone feel relevant at some point or another. It's not just one group of characters, and it's just all about them. It's about everybody, and I really love that. And you know, fairy tale being what it is, about friendship and family, I think that's a beautiful thing because whenever I'm having a bad day, right? Whenever life decides to kick me down, I could just sit back and I could watch fairy tale or listen to the soundtrack and then I instantly start to lift my mood. I could be having the worst day ever, like a bad day at school or work or whatever. I just sit back and I turn on fairy tale and I'm just watching all the sweet action. I'm watching the fights. I'm watching the comedy and I'm laughing. And fairy tale will get me up in my feels and I start to cry. And fairy tale is the first real anime that made your boy cry. Okay. Out of all the anime that I've ever watched, no anime has ever made me cry, and I'm not embarrassed to admit it. Fairy Tail is the only anime that ever made your boy cry. No anime has ever done that. Even as much as I love the main character or side character, when a character would die in an anime, I felt sad about it, but I never really cried. But when when it would look like a character would die in Fairy Tail, or when a character would tell their sad story, I would feel all those emotions about to pour out of me, and it's weird because Fairy Tail is like the only anime in which I had such a deep connection with it. And it's weird to me because no anime has ever made me feel like that before. So I think Hiro Mashima, I hope I say his name. I think Hiro Mashima really created a great thing because even I talked to other people and they said that Fairy Tail will help them with their depression. People would always tell me about how whenever they would feel depressed, Fairy Tail would lift their moods and how it would help them deal with the depression and make them feel happy and all of this. And I'm like, that is really freaking cool. That an anime that Fairy Tail could do that, could lift someone's mood so much into which it could basically help cure their depression, that we can relate to these characters, that we love these characters so much that it can help us out in our daily life. That's cool, man. That's really beautiful. And I don't even think Hiro Mashima realizes what a beautiful thing he created. Because Fairy Tail really is amazing, despite all of its flaws. Despite the writing being a little bit trash at some points, because let's be honest. Fairy Tail at some points does have bad writing, and for the most part, that's why Fairy Tail gets hated on so much, because the writing can be pretty bad. But in general, Fairy Tail is a decent anime. It's pretty good. It's one of the best in my opinion. And if you haven't watched Fairy Tail, I really suggest that you check it out, because it really is a good, touching anime. Let me say this. If you're thinking about watching Fairy Tail, don't let all the negative comments about the show dissuade you from checking it out. If you're really interested in watching it, I suggest you check it out. Develop your own opinion. Because when I want to watch something, I never let other people influence my opinion. I check it out myself, and I develop my own opinion on it. And if it's good, it's good. If it's trash, it's trash. And, to me, I can acknowledge that Fairy Tail has its flaws. Some of the writing can be pretty mad. But other than that, it's a good anime. It's full of comedy, action, emotional stories, things that will make you feel for these characters. And with me personally, I feel so connected to the characters in Fairy Tail that at some point I have to tell myself that these characters aren't real, because I feel so connected to them, right? It's like they're real, if that makes sense. I can't explain it that well, but it's like they're alive to you, that you're actually in the guild with them. Whatever nonsense they're getting themselves into, you feel like you're with them. That's what I'm trying to say. That's how connected I am with these characters, and that's how much I love these characters. These characters, they mean a lot to me, right? And no other anime has ever made me feel that way before. And it's funny to me how I almost never really watched Fairy Tail, not because of what people were saying, but because of the name itself. Because when I first found Fairy Tail on Netflix, I was just sitting there and I was staring at the name, and I was all like, Fairy Tail? what kind of name for an anime is Fairy Tale? And I thought it was going to be this really lame and girly and weird show. And I almost passed it up completely. Until one day, out of sheer curiosity, I just sat down and I checked it out. And I was mad at myself for not watching it sooner. Because it was such a good anime. And it knows how to get me up in my feels, you know? But, yeah, man, that's... Fairy Tale, influence. Fairy Tale has affected my life for the better. You know, it's I love Fairy Tale so much. I legit watch Fairy Tale almost every day. And if I'm not watching Fairy Tale, I'm listening to the soundtrack. I got the soundtrack playing right now. You know, because I really do love Fairy Tale. And Fairy Tale has affected a lot of people's lives for the better. A lot of people love this show. And a lot of people actually wish Fairy Tale was real so they can join the guild. I wish Fairy Tale was real so I could join the guild. So I can join the guild. I will be hanging out with my boy Natsu. I will have him teach me Dragon Slayer magic. Because I want to be a Dragon Slayer off this beast, you know? And it's like, Fairy Tale really is... Okay, it's full of fan service, and a lot of people hate fan service, and a lot of people hate Fairy Tale specifically because it's full of fan service. But it's like, I don't really care about that. I can easily ignore all of that. It doesn't even bother me. And the story is really, it's a pretty good story with some issues, but with a few minor issues. In the last arc, arguably there's some kind of big issues that I'm not really going to get into. The last arc wasn't really... The first half of the last arc was okay. The second half of the last arc was all over the place. But I'm not going to get into that. Fairy Tale overall is a pretty good story. And if you're looking for a good magic-based anime and you've heard of Fairy Tale, I highly suggest you check it out. Because it's good. It will get you up in your feels like no other anime has ever before. And even though people knock it down for being all about friendship and family and wanting to be there for your comrades, even though people want to knock it down because it's about that, it's not a bad anime at all. I don't care what anyone has to say about that. Fairy Tale is legit a classic, one of the best of all time. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can get off my video on me. Okay. But yeah, man, that's basically all I wanted to say. I just wanted to get in front of get in front of the camera and talk to you guys about my love for Fairy Tale, because Fairy Tale really affected my life for the better, you know. And this is like, whenever I'm having a bad day, it's something for me to go to in which I can easily just forget about all my problems. And the same thing can be said for a lot of people, you know. But yeah, man, I highly suggest, if you guys haven't watched Fairy Tale, you check it out. But anyway, that's all I had to say. This is been Kendrick Ballin TV. Peace out, my Wolfpack. Your Alpha has spoken. Oh, and I almost forgot. My emblem. My Fairy Tale emblem. There it is. Showing it off again. That is my Fairy Tale emblem. And you know, a lot of people say, a lot of people try to tell me that I was going to regret getting the Fairy Tale emblem. I ain't regretting it yet. And when I'm an old man, and people ask me what this emblem is on my shoulder, yo, I'm going to tell them that this shows that I'm a proud member of the Fairy Tale Guild. Mess with me. I am a proud member of the Fairy Tale Guild. I don't care what nobody trying to tell me, alright? Bow. Brave Guild. Fairy Tale where Fairy Tale's where it's at. Check it out. I don't care what nobody telling me. If you want a good story, I suggest you check it out, because you won't regret it. I promise you won't regret it. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble. I love Fairy Tale for everything that it represents, and I love all my Fairy Tale Guild members. Alright. Peace out, my Wolfpack. Your Alpha has spoken. Yo, one more thing I forgot to mention. Okay, the reason why I didn't go all in depth into the story of Fairy Tale and tell you what happened in each arc and all this is because, one, I don't have the time to do that. Two, my memories are not all that great. Okay, and really, because I want you guys to experience the story for yourself. I'm not trying to do all this review type stuff, okay? That's not what my channel is about, and that's not something that I'm interested in doing, okay? I'm not into all that reviewing stuff. I may watch. The only time I watch a review is when I want to hear someone's opinion, and when it comes to fairy tale, like, most of the opinions are negative. So, well, from a majority of people, most of the opinions are negative, and I don't really care about all the negative things people got to say. I want to connect with real fairy tale fans, okay? And like I said, my memory's not all that good to be doing all that review type stuff, so I'm not going to be going in all in depth and giving you guys a breakdown of Tartaros and all that, because I'm sure someone's going to say why I didn't do that. That's not what I do, okay? And another thing I wanted to say was, two of my favorite quotes of all time from fairy tale, from two of my favorite quotes from all time from fairy tale is one from Jerza and one from Natsu. And the one from Jerza was "You don't die for your friends, you live for them." I love that quote. It always hits me in my feels. It gets me every time. Whenever I get to the Tower of Heaven arc, and Natsu was just holding Jerza in his arms, and he's crying, and Natsu's all like, and Jerza all like, you don't die for your friends, you live for them, because she was going to sacrifice herself to protect everybody. And that's something that always gets to me. And the other quote from Natsu is in Battle of Fairy Tale arc, right? It's when Natsu was fighting Loxus, and Natsu's all like, "Don't you know blood ties don't matter? When you're a part of the Fairy Tale Guild, that means everyone is treated like family." It's amazing quotes like that always gets me hyped and emotional, and it just makes me love Fairy Tale even more, man. Quotes like that, it's what makes me love the series, and it's really amazing. I always thought this was an amazing thing that a complete stranger can walk up to the guild, walk up in the Fairy Tale Guild and just join, and you're instantly treated like family. I always thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, man, that's all I have to say. Peace out for real this time.